Well, welcome everyone. My name is Thomas Montgomery, and we are having our branch manager onboarding webinar this morning. It is Wednesday morning, May 27th, and we've just recently started having this formal onboarding discussion on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, subject to holidays and travel schedules. And this is appropriate for the following three groups. If you're a new branch manager, and I see some of you on, Antonio, welcome aboard, one of our newest branch managers. Who else here? We have saw some others. Dion's one of our newer branch managers. I saw Peggy on here. I thought there's Peggy, one of our newest branch managers. And so if you're a brand new branch manager, this is where you want to be to get a formal onboarding. The second group that this is applicable to would be existing branch managers that frankly came on before we had this formal onboarding available. There's many of you that are on the webinar this morning live that have been branch managers with us, but we didn't really have quite the structure of an onboarding available. So you're welcome. And the third group is everyone else. I mean, we don't care if you're just wanting to learn about who we are and what we do, trying to decide if you want to become a branch manager or not. This is all about 100% transparency. And in fact, we're going to record this. We are recording it, and we'll post it on our website for the world to see. So there's no secrets about who we are and what we do, but it is important that you understand how to be successful as a branch manager within Smart Money Alliance and how to get off to a fast start. So that's going to be our focus over the next few minutes. Again, we're going to repeat this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, subject to holidays and travel schedules. So if you want to come back and join us for a follow-up, you can. If you know of others that might be interested in being a branch manager, we'll pay you $5,000 for every branch you help us open, and this is a great place to have them start. So with that being said, Jennifer is our educational coordinator. She doesn't travel like I do. I'm one of our 3 field trainers, and so I'll be working with you hopefully soon in the next 30 to 60 days in your community, having your first financial literacy workshop. So what that means is I look forward to that and spending some time with you shoulder to shoulder, but it also means I'm out of the office a lot. And Jennifer is our educational coordinator, and she is in the office most Mondays through Fridays, 40 hours a week. She's one of our W-2 employees. So she'll be reaching out to each of you to make sure that you receive this, to make sure that you understand this, and to kind of prompt you along, because we can provide the tools and the training and support, but it still takes your involvement for this to be a success. So look for a call from Jennifer here soon. Step 1 of the 4 steps is to get onboarded, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. Is we're having this webinar, and obviously if you're listening to it, step 1 is maybe not complete yet, but it's in process. Step 2 is to get certified. It used to be that branch managers had to drop what they were doing, book a flight, often book a hotel, bed and breakfast, Airbnb plus rental car, and travel to our office to get trained. And we did trainings pretty much every Friday. So now we've switched that. Now we do the onboarding virtually, and the certification curriculum is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at your convenience. And we'll look at it here in a minute. And then we send a field trainer to you. You do not pay for that field trainer to come to you. We come to you to field train. And I think that's a far superior model. All right, and so there is information about the certification curriculum a little bit down on this PDF, and so we'll see that in detail in a few minutes, and we'll make sure you know how to get certified. Step 3, which to no surprise comes after step 2. So once you finish the on-demand modules in step 2, then we need to have a goal setting call, and you'll use this click here, and that'll take you to my Calendly link. Now again, this whole PDF was just emailed out to everyone, and also it's on the career page of the Smart Money Alliance. So the hyperlinks will be there for you to click on. We want to have monthly goal setting calls because that's going to allow us to make sure that we're meeting your expectations, your income desires. And that's really the way the goal setting works, right? We start with how much income. So we're recording this as of Wednesday, May 27th. So the question, if we had our goal setting call today, would be, what is your income goal as a branch manager in the month of June? And then we're going to back into the activity to get there. So many people that don't have small business, that don't have entrepreneurial experience, they just focus on the money. They focus on the money. Well, the money is the outcome. It's the activity that's going to generate the outcome, the revenue to you. So we want to start with the goal in mind, but we're going to have to back in enough activity to support that. So some of you are looking just to make a couple extra thousand as a branch manager. Some of you want to make a lot more than that. All of that is equally possible, but it's got to be matched with the plan and execution of that plan. All right, and then we scroll on down to step 4. We want you to have your first Access to Capital workshop, preferably in the first 30 to 45 days. Or if you've been with us a bit and we were just rolling this out today, we want to have it within 30 to 45 days from now. So by end of June, mid-July, we need to be having your first workshop. Now, you remember we had training yesterday, and I'll show you the highlights of it, and it's part of the certification curriculum as well. There's actually 3 different types of workshops that we could do. Now, if you're adverse to educating, leveraging business financial literacy to help small businesses access capital, it's okay. You do not have to conduct workshops. And I'll discuss a little bit more how those work, and they're very attractive. So it's not a requirement, but it certainly is a best practice, because we don't want to go out and sell. We want to go out and educate. And if we educate, we will generate the leads, we'll generate the conversions, and you'll generate the income. So again, with this, you can see that there's 3 different workshops scenarios. We covered that yesterday, and we'll look at them briefly here in just a moment. What's crucial, regardless of which of the 3 types of workshops that we want to do, we want to work with a host. Typically, you should not be the host. Can you be the host? Yes, you can be the host, but preferably you're not the host. Why? Because the host is going to typically provide the venue, the space, the physical space where we meet. And then secondly, the host is going to provide the audience. They have a sphere of influence. So when we work with hosts, it's organizations and entities like churches and chambers and co-working spaces and business organizations. And we've done this. We've done this with all. I can name off numerous churches that I've personally gone into and taught this curriculum. Chambers of commerce are great. We did the Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce, a smaller community in East Texas, granted. So it's so small that the individual cities don't even have their own chamber. The whole county has one chamber. And we had over 100 attendees at the Sulphur Springs Country Club for the Hopkins Chamber event. So don't think that you're in a community too small. Co-working spaces are great. When I worked for the SBA, which was up until July 5th of last year, we had one co-working space especially that had us coming in every month. I think it was the 3rd Tuesday of every month, teaching the Access to Capital workshop. Co-working spaces are great. Business organizations and business associations. We've been invited, for instance, NABWIC, the National Association of Black Women in Construction. We were invited to come in and speak at their national conference in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So business organizations, business associations, any of these types of entities are usually a good fit to be a host for the educational curriculum, because we can do a revenue share with them, so that makes it worthwhile. They're helping address one of the key problems of their congregation, their membership, their clients, whatever the relationship term might be, which is access to capital through improved business financial literacy. And third, they're often willing to use this to attract new members. It's something that they're doing that brings more people into their funnel. So with that being said, having a host for doing that first workshop is crucial. So but that's really the beauty of being a branch manager, is you don't need to go rent a room. You don't need to go spend money in marketing to people to attend the workshop. Instead, you just do what you're good at, right? Which is developing and maintaining relationships with key influencers in your community. So whether it be the business bankers or these other examples, they know small businesses that need what you and I offer. And so they are great hosts and key influencers. So step 4, and we'll hold your hand through this, is we need to get that first workshop going. And I'll discuss that more in a moment. If you would like, and we are not network marketing, we're not MLM, but we do have great incentive to help us open more branches. Our goal is to have 1,000 branches open, operational, and compliant by the end of this calendar year. And we're going to need your help, right? The good news is you earn an extra $5,000 for bringing on each new branch. And so that's something you may or may not be interested in, but it's something that's important that you know about. And once you've brought on 4, you can actually become a regional director, which has some extra perks. Of course, there's no cost to be a regional director. As a branch manager, you likely know we contribute $25,000 of working capital to your branch. That is not a loan, it's not a draw, it's not an advancement, it's not money that you have to pay back. It is a contribution to your branch to help get some startup capital. And so that is an outstanding benefit of being a branch office. And that is something we have a great track record of doing. We have funded many of those. Most recently, it was Kenneth, right, in California. Just we wired over $25,000 on a recent Friday to him. All right, so that is something you need to know about. Live support, you can always call our number. It should be answered typically live Monday through Sunday, so 7 days a week. And if we're not available, then one of our receptionists can take a message. And so our phone number is also here in the footer of the page. So that covers the important 4 steps. Let's scroll on down. I did make reference a few minutes ago that there are 3 different scenarios that we can set up and teach workshops in. And we had a separate training session on this, and it is part of the certification curriculum. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview now with the understanding that you should understand it very thoroughly by going through the certification curriculum. So while we live in an environment of a lot of online learning, which frankly we're doing right now, some subjects are just best suited for in-person training. It's my belief. I was a college professor. I taught business. I was responsible for developing a curriculum for small business management. We helped all the credit earning full-time students develop a business plan using some of the tools, same tools and techniques that we use with our clients now. I taught that as an in-person class. I taught that as a hybrid class, and I taught that as online only. And I can tell you, we had the most fun and we had typically the most success when we had it in person. And so you're going to hear us talk a little bit of a contrarian strategy of let's get a group of 10 to 20 people together and educate them. That is based upon our experience of having the greatest success, the greatest compliance. And for those of you that are business to business professionals, many of you are licensed insurance agents. And since pretty much anyone that's pursuing a business loan needs a key person policy, there's probably no better place you can be for a given day than in front of a group of 10 to 20 small or 30 small business owners, develop a relationship with them and actually get their key person policy at least started at that workshop. So with that being said, scenario 1 is our 1-day access to capital workshop. Participants pay $4.99, you receive half. You'll see in the training there's some ways that we can get sponsors and reduce or eliminate that cost. The outcome is all the attendees will leave with a loan package and a capital match. You're making at least $5,000 up front, and you should be writing around 20 key person policies. That's a big deal, a big deal. Scenario 2, and again, going through this quickly because we have a standalone training on this that you'll be able to plug into. We call this the William model. William is on our training today. He really is the architect of this. And we talked about that again on the training that covers this. But essentially what we're doing is often getting a smaller number of attendees together who have paid for and enrolled in the SBA Express program. And so it's a variation of scenario one. Because when we know that people are going after an SBA loan, it allows a 7A Express loan, it allows us to do a few things differently. Number one, the loan package is actually catered specifically to that loan product. And quite frankly, it's a bit shorter of a process because if we know exactly the source of capital we're going after, we can be laser focused on providing the lender exactly what they want. Here in scenario one, the loan package is created. It's very, very valuable. It's probably a $5,000 to $10,000 value that they're paying pennies on the dollar for, but we don't know yet what type of capital they're pursuing. With scenario two, we're developing the loan package specifically for a 7A Express loan. We're going to actually develop the personal financial statement while we're together. We're going to get the key person policy set up. We're going to actually fill out the application for the SBA loan together at this event. And William, again, our architect of this, he and I are doing a workshop together in Chicago this weekend for this exact purpose. So this is not pie in the sky. We've been doing these scenario one for years, previously under the SBA banner when I worked for the SBA, now standalone. Scenario two is an ingenious new approach that William is the architect for, and our first one is this weekend in Chicago. Excited for that. Thank you, William. Scenario three is much different than scenario one and two. Scenario three is not a full day workshop. It's a 1 hour workshop. We have a number of different award-winning topics for both personal and business financial literacy. I'll show you those in a moment, but the hyperlink would take you to them. In this case, frankly, it's set up to be a 60 to 90 minute singular event. However, you can package them together and put 3 or 4 topics and do it as a half day. Or hypothetically, you could set up a series, each evening, Wednesday evening, Thursday evening for 10 consecutive weeks. So you can be creative in how you package this. But normally what will happen is we'll go to the host, the church, the chamber, the co-working space, so forth, and we'll want to start with setting up one of these two, because these are going to be your bread and butter. It's a deep dive into addressing the problem of access to capital. In most cases, the host will be pleased with the outcome and be willing to have an ongoing calendar put together. And then what we can do is we can continue to schedule scenario one or scenario two on a monthly or quarterly basis. And depending upon your preference and their preference, we might actually do these 1 hour financial literacy topics every week, for example. But again, that's up to your preference and their preference. So in these cases, in scenario three, you're making $20 for each person that attends, but normally you would split that 50-50 with the host, which would leave you $10 per. So of course, if we have 20 people, that puts you at $200 for the hour. Not going to get rich off that, but I can tell you, again, if you are a licensed life insurance agent and looking to help more people with asset protection and wealth generation, wow, if you had a steady funnel of 10 to 20 new small businesses to work with every week that you didn't have to go pay for leads, essentially they were provided to you, that is powerful. So our branch managers do not have to be licensed life insurance agents. They do not have to be. It just happens to be a really good fit. But we also work with CPAs, we work with website developers, business coaches, business consultants, a variety of other business to business professionals. So when you hear me make reference to the life insurance agents, that's because it's a very natural fit. The key person policies are set up to be a collateral assignment that is typically required for a business loan. So they're kind of getting a double benefit, both the revenue that we're talking about through the Smart Money Alliance, as well as the insurance money off the key person policies. As I made reference to before, This is not a model where we're trying to get our branch managers to go out and rent rooms and go spend money on marketing to drive people in. Now, you could do that if you want. You could be your own host, but that is not the preference. That is not the model. The model is to work with third-party hosts, which we may very well revenue share with, but they have the space, they have the sphere of influence, they do the marketing. And so that is a superior model. Now, quite frankly, if you just want to go teach and you don't even want to network or interface with prospective hosts, we can even do that for you. If you simply want to outsource it to us and you want us to set up your workshops, that's possible. It's just not preferable. Okay, moving forward here. And of course, you're beyond this, but this is on that sheet. Let's scroll on down. Again, this is on our website, and I'll show you in just a second. So this is the certification curriculum. Now, don't be confused. We make this available to the world. Anyone with no cost, no obligation can go through these topics and learn them. Some of them are YouTube, some of them have passwords, and we confirmed this morning, all these passwords are working. So if you try it and the password doesn't work, it's probably your browser. But the bottom line is this certification training is available to the world for free, If you are a branch manager of ours, then you'll want to go through this training and then we'll implement it. So to be a branch manager is not free. It's under a business license agreement. It's not a franchise. It's a business license agreement. Cost a big whopping $250 to start. And as long as you're following the model, it'll support itself thereafter. You won't have to pay anything else. The branch will support its own expenses. But with that being said, this is the curriculum that you'll want to go through. And when we talk about conducting workshops, watch both. The second one here is what addresses these three types of workshops. Okay, so with that, let me pause to share for a second and let me take you over to the Smart Money Alliance website and finish the onboarding, and then we can open this up for Q&A. So on smartmoneyalliance.org, which you should see now on your screen, so there's the home page. There's an overview of Smart Money Alliance here on the home page. I won't bore you with that, but what's specifically relevant to you as a new branch manager. There are personal financial literacy topics organized around 6 elements. The individual modules are here. So as a branch manager, once we have your license fee funded, once you're up and going with the basic workshops, now we can move into these other training modules that can be offered to individuals. Now you may say, well, what's the relevance of that if we're really focused on business financial literacy? It's not unusual that we work with small businesses that have employees. And of course, some of the small businesses we work with are pre-launch or startup, and they have no other employees other than themselves yet. But the point is, some small businesses do have employees, right? And especially for those that are smaller, that don't yet have a retirement plan, a pension plan, a 401k, it is an outstanding opportunity for us to be able to go in and set up what's called a smart money plan. And we'll train you more on that later, but that essentially is incorporating some of this education at the employee level that we might do during their lunches, break room, what have you. And then we can help them set up a smart money plan, which is using an indexed universal life policy as the platform. And so we have that set up so we can actually do list bills. So sometimes the small business owner will contribute, the employee will contribute. We do one bill to the small business each month, and they do a payroll deduction for the employee's contribution. So you don't have to do personal financial literacy, but it's there. Business financial literacy is our bread and butter. So these are the individual 1-hour topics that you can do. And again, as a branch manager, once you have your license fee fully paid, we've got you trained, you're upright on doing the core workshops, then we can start doing these, and these can be used as a feeder into the other workshops. They can also be an ongoing stream of education that you're offering through your branch. The 4-week Access to Capital program, this is 4 weeks long, to no surprise, can be done, it's typically done online, includes both developing their loan package, which is always needed if we're trying to get a business loan, and then we help match them to capital with an emphasis of capital under the EIN. This is a current list of the banks and lending institutions that are doing EIN-based financing as of this recording. So this is often our bread and butter of dropping people into the Access to Capital class. If you have someone that you're ready to do so, you hit click here, which is the same as the contact us. You put in their name, their information here. You're going to help them click that top box, put your name as the referral source, any message that you want. You submit that. That'll come through to us. We'll send them a DocuSign, and then they'll be able to enroll in the 4-week Access to Capital program. So that is one of the arrows in your quiver as a branch manager. The SBA Express program can be done remotely online. It's about a 30-day process, again, targeting getting an SBA loan. And also, which is scenario 2 of the workshops, the William model that I made reference to, we can gather a group of these as long as we have at least 6 people in one physical location and get this done in one day. So the SBA Express program is the second arrow that you have in your quiver. And as we've talked about, you make $1,000 up front on each of these. You're going to collect the $19.99 from the client. You're going to forward us $1,000. You're going to keep $1,000. From the capital raise that they have, you're going to earn half of that 1.99. So you'll make 1% performance fee of their capital raise. So if we help them raise 100,000, you get 1,000. If we help them raise $1 million, it's 1% of that, and so forth. And then of course, you're also probably getting the key person policy off of these. So the SBA Express program can be done completely online, or it can be done in a small group session, and that's called Workshop Scenario 2, the William model. Our bread and butter Access to Capital workshops we made reference to, and this was Scenario 1. This is where we get groups of 20 or more small business owners together. They each pay $4.99. You make half of that. If you want to split some of that with the host, you can. And so again, at $250 a pop with 20 people, you're making $5 grand for the day, which isn't all bad. And then we'll be able to proceed with, you'll be able to get their key person policies set up and generate probably quite a bit more income. So these Access to Capital workshops we should be doing on a wide basis. The Career Opportunity tab is where you'll find a link to the certification training that I just showed you a picture of. And then we've just recently added the branch manager onboarding packet. So that entire packet that I just went through is in fact available by clicking here. Funding proposals are important. This is a grant subsidized program. There's no cost to the client. Essentially, we gather some information from them, the small business owner, and help put together a game plan for getting funding. And all they do is click the link, and then we'll take it from there. And then our contact us information. So let's summarize with our onboarding. As a branch manager, again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to work with you. There's such a great opportunity to improve business financial literacy, increase access to capital, and earn an adult income through that process. If you would like to do trainings, to do workshops, there's 3 different scenarios of workshops. We've talked about those. You'll learn more about those as you go through the training curriculum. If you don't want to do workshops, or you're in an area where you can't do workshops yet, that's fine. You have a number of resources that are available online. You can drive people into the 4-week Access to Capital program. That's done online. They don't have to group, they don't have to aggregate, they don't have to travel. Same with the SBA Express. It can be taught in person or online. So you've got 2 excellent resources that are needed. If you're willing to teach workshops in addition to, then of course we can do the SBA Express, the Scenario 2 model that I mentioned, the William model. We can do Scenario 1, the Access to Capital workshop, where we build the loan package out and the rest. And then also, once you have your license fully funded, then you'll be eligible to teach these other personal financial and business financial literacy topics. So with that being said, what I want to do is make sure that we've addressed any and all questions that you have from a perspective of being a new branch manager. And then also remind you, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, barring travel and other interruptions, at the same time on the same Zoom webinar link, we will have a prospective branch manager training, so they learn about who we are and what we do, and why they might want to participate. And as we've talked about, you can earn you do earn $5,000 for each branch manager that you bring aboard. And if you're interested in doing that on a regular basis, you may want to become one of our regional directors, our leadership team. Again, there's no cost to be a regional director. More information on the career page. All right, so let's get to your questions. Antonio, one of our branch managers, says, so can a branch manager sign up the 2-person policy? I'm assuming you're asking the key person policy. And yes, our branch managers help their clients get their key person policy set up. Yes, sir. Hopefully I answered your question correctly, Antonio. Antonio asked about revenue share with the hosts. So if you want to share any of your revenue with the host, since they are providing the space, the venue, and they are providing the marketing out, you could do so. And that would be at your discretion. You're not required to do so. So let's take William, for example. William has a host in Chicago. We have 10 people enrolled for this weekend. They've all enrolled and paid for the SBA Express program. So frankly, they've given him $20,000 collectively. He keeps half of that, which is a great one-day gig for him. He keeps $10,000 of that. He'll earn the back-end fee off the performance fee from the capital raise. He'll write those 20 key person policies. He'll start those this weekend. So William is going to have a really good weekend, right? And I hope you have a great weekend too, but William's going to have a really good weekend, and I'll be there with him to experience it. With that being said, that host has kind of allowed that to happen, right? Because the host provided the space and the marketing and drove in those 10 people. If William would like to do a revenue share with the host, he may. He's not required to. He could share maybe a little bit of the $19.99. He could share a little bit of the performance fee and or part of the performance fee, or depending upon how everything's set up, he might even share some of the premium, some of the commissions from the life insurance policies. But that's up to him. So Antonio, that's what I mean. If you want to share with your host, you can. And if you say, forget that, I'm keeping it all, then that's your preference too, whatever you want to do. All right. Beth asks, do banks and lenders typically charge a $1,999 fee to participate in the SBA Express loan? No, nor do we, right? So we're not the lender. We are not even a loan broker. So we're not a lender, we're not a loan broker, we're a technical advisor. We have a grant subsidized program that helps small business owners put together about 15 different elements that are necessary to have a complete and lender compliant loan package. And for that, we do charge the participant. Now, again, it's a subsidized rate. I think many of you know, I worked for Deloitte. It was called Deloitte & Touche when I first came out of graduate school and I first finished my MBA. We did high-end loan packages. I led a team of CPAs and auditors, especially for companies that were looking to go public or draw on investor equity. And you're talking tens of thousands of dollars to go to a Deloitte, a Goldman Sachs, any of the big boys. We're bringing that down on a very affordable, bite-sized option for small businesses. And if they want to go through the SBA Express and have assistance with their loan packaging, there is a fee for that, of which you receive half. But we're not charging them to get a loan. What we're doing is there is a deposit paid, Beth, for putting together their loan package. And if they were to go out and even just hire an individual accountant or consultant, that would probably be about $5,000. You and I, Beth, are doing it for what, less than half of that. So with that being said, just want to make sure that it's clear we're not charging someone to get a loan. We're developing their loan package, and banks and lenders are not typically going to help put together loan packages. That would be a conflict of interest. So they look to refer out to third parties like you and I, Beth, to be able to create that for them. If you're marketing this correctly in your area, Beth, as a branch manager, you should be getting a steady stream of referrals from local business bankers. Okay, so hopefully that helped, Beth. Great question. Robert asks, so right now we have, as far as other languages, the 4-week Access to Capital program is available largely in English, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. The other programs are currently available in English. So that was the answer to Robert's question. Let's see here. Edward asked, how does the branch manager model sustain itself? Well, you know, we earn income by helping small businesses. And Edward, we've just talked about the different arrows you have in your quiver as a branch manager. You can teach personal financial literacy topics, and you could charge for that or do it for free. You can teach business financial literacy topics. You could charge for those 1-hour sessions or do it for free. You can refer people into the 4-week Access to Capital program, which is going to generate, and it's only $99 up front for the client, I should mention. And you're going to generate a steady stream of key person policies off of that. You have another arrow in your quiver, Edward, which is the SBA Express program, of which the branch collects almost 2,000 and keeps half of that, as well as the back end, as well as the key person policies. And then also we can be doing Access to Capital workshops. So Edward, these are the different arrows in your quiver of how revenue is generated. Hopefully that helps, Edward. Tobin asked about a brick and mortar office. We initially had planned that all the branches have a traditional brick and mortar office, but we've since relaxed that standard. It is no longer required. Phil and Jim and Mike all weighed in heavily. There's some joint venture partners that said really we should allow more of a virtual branch model whereby it doesn't require the overhead and expense and risk of a physical office. So if you'd like to have a physical office, that's great. Again, we're contributing $25,000. You can put towards that. If you want to have more of a virtual office, great. We're still contributing $25,000 to that. It would be great to have a physical presence, a visible presence in your community as a branch manager, but it is no longer required. And yes, Peggy, we can help you with that, and I'll reach out to you this week to help you with your question. Beth asked a really good question. So in the SBA Express program, so think of, I don't want to say a funnel. Well, think of a roof on a building. And so this 4-week Access to Capital program is a roof over your house, we'll say. And your house has different rooms. You have living room and kitchen and bathrooms and bedrooms and so forth. So this 4-week Access to Capital program is like a roof. And then one of those rooms, one of the types of funding that's available under that roof is an SBA Express. So the analogy I'm trying to make is if the client wants specifically the SBA Express program, we'll enter into this because it's a specific funding vehicle, and we can tailor our activity specifically to those requirements. But in many cases, Beth, people don't really know yet what the right type of capital is for their circumstance. And so then they would be better off most often to start with the broader 4-week access to capital program, so it's not as laser focused on one type of funding vehicle that they may or may not qualify for. So with that being said, with the SBA Express program, if someone goes through this, let's take William again. So we're doing the training for 10 professionals, Chicago this weekend. Let's say that all of them have an interest in the SBA Express program. That's why they've enrolled and paid William the $20,000 collectively. But let's say some of them, after we've completed the day, we've put together their loan package, we've looked at all the circumstances and realized, oh shoot, they really aren't that good of a fit for the SBA loan pack, the 7A Express. They might be a better fit for a full 504 loan or SBA micro loan or some other source of capital. Of course, we're still helping them with the process. The bottom line is Beth is asking, well, the SBA Express program, it ranges from 50 to 150,000 for this very rapid turnaround. It funds in an average of 15 days, 15 days. If they need more than that, this might be one element of their capital raise, Beth, or this might not be the right fit for them. But once we've gone through this, if we determine it's not the right fit, of course, we can help them beyond that. So 50 to 150,000 is the range for working capital for the SBA Express program. It's beautiful, low interest rate, low credit scores, low payments because it's a repayment term of 10 years. Brand new startups qualify. It's the best kept secret. When I work for the SBA, this is what we would tout all the time, but the average small business owner doesn't understand that this is available. All right. Any other questions that any of you have for our branch manager orientation? So again, you can access the packet right here on smartmoneyalliance.org/career opportunities. There's the tab, and you're going to want to get engaged. There's those 4 initial steps. We want to get you certified as quickly as possible, and we specifically need to get your event scheduled with a host as soon as possible. We want to have your first event in 30 to 45 days. So that way you're a walking testimony that the model works, you're applying the training that you've gone through, and you're making money, because there's nothing wrong with making money by helping other people solve their problems. And that's what a branch manager does. And with that, I guess we've covered the content, we've covered the questions. We will regroup again on a regular basis, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, using the same Zoom link at the same time, frankly, going over the same information, because we're always bringing on new branch managers and we want to onboard them properly. If you want to come back and revisit what we've learned, you have questions based upon as you're going through those 4 steps, you can either reach out to Jennifer. She will be contacting you as well at least once a month. You and I should be having a goal setting call at least once a month. And then I'm one of 3 trainers. One of the 3 of us trainers should be out there with you on a regular basis, but most importantly, on a first-time basis soon, having your first event. So thank you all for your time, your interest, the opportunity to collaborate. The ball's in your court. You have access to the training. Let's get the certification modules knocked out, and let's proceed forward with getting your first workshop scheduled as soon as possible. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.